What's up everyone, how you doing today? Today's video is a little bit different, but it's good. Recently I got a chance to talk to someone cool, really cool. Our mutual friend got us together, and this guy's awesome. He's produced huge movies, shows that you've probably watched, and he's also an author of a really cool book. Genius, the game. His name is Leopoldo Gout, and I got a chance to talk to him, and I thought it was a really good opportunity, especially to share it with you guys. I know a lot of you guys who watch this channel are super into film, super into photography, super into creating and being creative. So I got to sit down and talk with Leopoldo. His book is massive. His new movie that he produced is coming out early October. Middle School, The Worst Years of My Life. Coming soon to theaters everywhere. So I got to talk with him. His book is amazing. He has a lot of knowledge, and I asked him a lot of questions for you guys. It's super interesting and it's super helpful. So I'm about to show you the interview. I know this isn't like the normal type of stuff on here, but this is awesome and I love that I got the opportunity to do this. Also, we're going to do a free giveaway of his book to some of you guys watching. So stick around to the end to see how you can get an autographed copy of the book. And also, there's a ton of links that I want you to check out, and they're going to be in the description of this video. It's all the stuff that he talks about and more. Without further ado, here we go. And be sure to stick around to the end to see how you can get a free autographed copy of the book.
I'm Leopoldo Gout, the author of GENIOUS, the game, which is a project that I started writing a couple years ago. And I wrote it because I have, two very young kids. And the big thing that happened to me is that I'm a geek. I'm a fan of sci-fi, of stories, of wild adventures. I love reading. I love the Harry Potters of the world. And I was surprised, coming from Mexico and from a very exotic family, how a lot of the voices that I was reading in YA were amazing, but I felt there was an amazing opportunity to talk to people like me, which we are immigrants, we are from different cultures, from different languages, and I decided that I could tell a great story about it. The other part of the component is that I started to, in YouTube I discovered a lot of incredible kids. Like there's this African kid, this is a genius level kid that in a very humble house in Africa, and he literally threw trash, created a windmill to power his house because his mom was getting blind. So I started to find all of these superheroes who were very young YouTubers who are changing their stars through their intelligence and in their imagination. And I thought, what a great opportunity to tell a story that instead of magic or superpowers, it's the brain. So I started drawing because I'm an artist. I studied sculpture in St. Martin's, and painting, and I started to do all of these things, and that is my process, is deep research and also drawing. And I started to form the characters in this book, and I love the process where I develop an idea, I develop a character. Usually it always starts with someone very specific, and then I really dive into the research. So the research for this book was crazy because I'm not a scientist, so to me it was important to go into the world and look for it. It's a narrative, it's a fiction book, it's amazing. It's like I wanted to do a book with the feeling of, I don't know, you're too young, but I went to see on the big screen Indiana Jones, the first one. It was called Raiders of the Lost Ark, about a scientist, an archaeologist who happens to save the world and get the girl at the end of the movie. So to me, that was like, I want to be like him. And all my life, I didn't grow up with a lot of money, but I grew up with a lot of culture. My mother speaks 4 languages, and we grew up with books and people that would come to our house from all over the world. And I wanted to create a YA book that had that energy. So I created this idea where there's young kids from all over the world, one from Africa, a girl from China, a Mexican immigrant into the United States, and they find each other through just being smart online, and they realize that each one has a very big problem, but together they kind of create a supercomputer with their brain, and they can save their stars, they can save their world, they can change their stars, they can save their world. Well, first and foremost, I'm a filmmaker. I have a movie coming out in October 7 that actually our mutual friend, Efrain Ramirez, it's a character in the movie. It's called Middle School, The Worst Years of My Life. I'm a producer of that movie. It's based on a James Patterson book. It's a huge bestseller. And that movie is awesome. Since coming to this country, I've had success in 2 areas, both as an artist, as a visual artist, but also in movies and television. I partner with James Patterson. We have a TV show on CBS. We have a bunch of things coming in development. We have this movie, Middle School, that's coming out on October 7th. And movies and television has been a wonderful process for me. But it all starts with writing, and this is actually my third novel. And my process is kind of different from anyone that you've ever met, because at the core, I identify myself much more of an artist. So a lot of my ideas come with, I have a feeling. I remember coming out of a theater with my son, and he's asking me, "Papa, why are they destroying New York again?" And he kind of triggered a amazing process in my head of saying, like, yes, why is every superhero has to have a superpower? Can't we do something different? Can I show my son that there are superpowers within us? For example, any cell phone that you have right now, that all your fans have more computing power than what people had to send the Neil Armstrong to the moon. We carry more computing power than they had at NASA in the 60s. That's amazing. That's a superpower. So I was trying to figure out, like, what is it with our brain and our imagination. I was doing drawings of this, like, kid with all these things coming out of his head, and some of these drawings actually ended up in the book. I worked on some of the illustrations. The main illustrator is a friend of mine called GENIOUS, who's fantastic. He's from Australia. He's an incredible artist. And so I collaborated with him on the images. And I love the opportunity of these characters that was building. That was just the beginning. So my process as a writer is very unconventional. As I said to you before, I start with a drawing. I do all of these sketches and notes, and then suddenly something triggered, and I started to investigate and do a very deep research that took me for about a year, with lots of kids that are geniuses from all over the world. I have a wonderful announcement that I'm going to do very soon about the making of a movie based on this, and that's going to be really exciting, with one of the greatest filmmakers of our time that I'm partnering. And that's only one part of the genius kind of like world that I'm building. With Arizona State, we're also starting kind of like a global search for this type of geniuses. And instead of trying to bring them here and do a kind of like a TED Talk or one of those things that a lot of people are doing, we're trying to partner with through the University of Arizona State to some technology companies, so that we can help those genius kids out there and empower them with technology to help them and catapult their mind to really truly impact their communities. And it's 100% a foundation, so it's not for profit, it's just for igniting the imagination of some people that are out there that maybe they don't have the opportunities that you and I have. The concept to me that I have here is to ask a question for you and your fans is, can big entertainment, what I call big entertainment is like Star Wars, Harry Potter, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Pixar movies, can big entertainment change the world? Can we entertain people but also contribute to the society? Can we move the needle? That is the question that I've been asking in this book, and hopefully if I'm embraced by an audience and they support it, I think that we can do it, because entertainment in some way and culture really impacts minds of people, and that's what I'm good at. So I want to use something that I'm good at to move the needle of humanity in some way or another. So it's a principle that I followed all my life, and there's two kind of heads. The one head is to lose fear of failure. That's the big thing. Like, you don't have it because you've done, I think you've done 500 videos. I mean, you're amazingly prolific filmmaker. So I'm completely in awe with you, and your fans love you, and I love them for loving you, and you create all this great content, and it's as valid as a Pixar movie in my book. All content is great. So it's the first concept is you wake up from the morning and you lose the fear of failing, because when you have nothing to lose, you can do anything you want, and you start doing. A lot of people that they say they want to do things what stopped them is that they're a little bit afraid. What if my girlfriend don't like it, or what if my boyfriend don't like it, or what if it exposes that I'm, you know, straight or gay or trans or whatever you are. You know, it's art really reflects who you are. So a lot of people have fears, and I don't blame them. I respect that, but you have to create ideas. You have to lose that fear. That is the first thing. That doesn't mean it's not scary. I mean, so I'm releasing a movie in 2 weeks, and I'm terrified. Like, what if people hate it? It's loosely based on my childhood. What if people hate my movie? I'm terrified of that thing, you know, like, but I love it. I think it's going to be great. The second principle I used to that I always tell is, you also have to find you have to find your fire. I call it the fire. I was lucky that I was born with a fire, and I nourish it, and it's not inspiration, it's very different. The fire is just this, like, that kind of primordial instinct to create things. The fear can stop, you know, or that being too arrogant can end up making you get lazy or do, you know, mediocre stuff. The fire is something very delicate. It doesn't matter if it's cooking. It doesn't matter if it's like dancing. It's like you find that fire, and then you do everything you can to put in like just the right amount of oxygen. You have to find the fire from the, you know, that doesn't mean you change your mind and you find a different fire or whatever you want. But finding the fire is one of the most important missions from the time that you can read a book or hold a pencil, because it's fun, you know, and it's once you find it. Like, for example, my son, who's, you know, or my daughter, they both figure out little things that they do it, and in school sometimes they get very distracted, and they're not like, you know, and school is a challenge for everyone, you know. No kid really loves middle school, but I'm amazed that when they focus, when my daughter Inez like finds something she loves, like dancing, she's, you know, she can be training on her own for hours. Or my son one day discovered the Rubik's cubes, and now he can, you know, solve one in, you know, 60 seconds. He's 12. I've never been able to do one line, you know, like it's so finding the fire can be in different ways, but it's important to find the fire, because then you can find another one and you can start to make your own thing really work. My path was very weird about it. I was making sculptures, went to New York to do an art show, met my now wife for 20 years. I fell in love with her from the moment I saw her. You know, I knew that I wanted to marry her, and she was very happy in New York, so I decided to move to New York. And then we had a very wonderful art show, and David Byrne, the musician, saw the art show and invited me once to his studio, and it was like really crazy, because this is the David Byrne from Talking Heads, and he said, I have a record label, I want you to do some images like your art for my music. So he gave us this money, and it was crazy. That was the first time that I knew that music videos, but I've never done it. So, and my work was very lyrical, and there was photographs and drawings and sculptures. So he wanted that kind of energy, and I called my brother. I said, "Oh my God, like this guy is like amazing." So my brother flew to New York. We finalized the contract. I didn't have any production company. It was just my brother and mine. And my brother has always been younger, but he's very smart. So he's like, "No, we don't need to sign with anyone. We'll do the production company." Yeah. So we literally, that was our first gig, and from there we shot it in Mexico. It made no sense. It was crazy. Like it literally was like an art film. But that took us for 8 years of doing commercials and short films and music videos, and even a TV show in Mexico. But we were very lucky. I started to get a lot of hip hop artists, and so I created, for example, 3 music videos for Mos Def, and I shot his record cover of a very legendary album called Black on Both Sides. I thought that I did with a partner of mine the record cover of Alvaro Gonzalez, and I did that whole image and some music videos with my brother, and we did more Chiba and Craig David and Wyclef and we did De La Soul, and we did Talib Kweli, and all sorts of, I don't know if I pronounced any of these names right, Mexican, so it's crazy, but we did a lot of music videos and commercials all over the world. And our thing is that we were like kids in a candy store. There was still money in the music video industry. So every job we had, we said like, what's the new camera that we need, or the new lens? And we slowly started to accumulate equipment, and then we were doing everything. We were shooting it, directing it, editing it, you know, producing it. We would go to countries and bring stars to those countries and make the music video. So that was my film school. It was crazy, and I learned producing like that. And then we were shooting music videos, and that's where I met James Patterson, and for the past few years I've been producing some of his movies and television shows, and also doing some of my movies like Days of Grace, which we went to Cannes and we won like 20 awards. It was like my brother's debut as a director, and I produced it, and with a couple of our friends in Mexico, and I think it's a masterpiece. It's a great movie, got incredible reviews in the New York Times, LA Times, all over. During that time, when the music video industry started to go down, I started to focus more on TV and film, and I wrote my first novel. It's called Ghost Radio, after there was a horrible fire in my house. I lost a lot of things, and to tell you a story short, I started to do the book thing as well. Yeah. But my advice for your fans in terms of producing is that producing is almost like, at the beginning you have to be everything. You have to do, you can't just be the director or the DP or the producer. You have to learn by doing everything. And then it's amazing how many, I have at least 2 or 3 people that I personally know that did one short film, and then, you know, Hollywood took them over. And one of them is, you know, Fede Alvarez did a short film. It's a buddy of mine, and he was literally working in an ad agency in South America, like completely, like there was, the access he had was because he had a friend, they started like a VFX company, and they did this great short called Ataque de Pánico, and it got viral, and now he's doing his 3rd movie, and Evil Dead, and all these things with Sam Raimi and stuff. But that short was what got him into the door. Right now, because of YouTube and because of like the amazing things, that tools that they are, it's a great way to go in, because there's no rules. As long as you have a phone and a couple of good actors, you can make a movie. I think it's an amazing moment in time where you can, you know, where you can really learn everything you want through just doing it. And I've had many times where I have 2 or 3 jobs to be able to, you know, sponsor my passions, and that's the price to pay. But it's but as long as you're serious and you commit to an idea, and you try to make it original, and try to make it a splash, and try to make it in a way that it will cause some attention, then I think that's the best school ever. You know, that's how I learned. I never went to film school. I wouldn't even last for a minute. You know, I barely lasted in art school. Like, I've never been able to follow too much academia, but I respect it, and that's another way to go. The biggest thing is that I would love your fans to give it a shot, to tell their friends, to help me start a movement, because I am committed to do this for the long haul, and I do believe that there is space to inject kind of like the guttural soul to the entertainment YA space. It's like, I feel there's a lot of real estate or space that we can explore from, you know, these kids who are rascals and radicals and different from all over the world, joining forces to change the stars, or change their stars. But that really has a foundation or a stake in the ground, and does something positive for this world. If we do that, it's going to be very empowering, because it could influence other filmmakers. It's Genius, the Game by Leopoldo Gout, and I'm super excited to have met you, and I hope that we collaborate in many things down the line.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you very much. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm super thankful for the opportunity. That was a lot of really helpful information, and just cool to see what he's doing. So we're gonna give away a few books. Autographed copies, of course. So if you want an autographed copy of his book, check out the description below for details on how to enter. It's really good. You're gonna want to get this. I hope that really helped you out, and was just like a whole bunch of information and helpful information and just cool things coming up from him. So give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and be sure to subscribe. And of course, check out all of the links down below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.